Hey guys, we're going to do some brakes or rotors on a 06 Ford Escape. 19 millimeter or 3/4 on the lug nuts. Try to do this all in real time. I'm going to turn my wheel so I can get to that caliper easily. Got these little plastic plugs on the back, the caliper. You should have a slot in the back of there for an Allen wrench. Using an Allen socket, 7 mil. Try to do this all real quick in real time. Brake hose is a little bit in the way on the top one. Grab a flathead. You can push these little slides back once you have them loose with a flathead or something. They're usually in there pretty stiff. I'm going to take these slides out, clean them up, give them a little grease for later. Got the vehicle a little too high right now. I can't see nothing up top. There we go. Get the other slide out. Let's see if I can compress that caliper just a little bit. Now, we're in Michigan, so these bleeder screws get really rusty. Luckily, this one still had a bleeder cap on it. Protects it a little bit. Alright, that bleeder's not coming out. It's gonna snap off. So you gotta apply a little heat to them if you don't want them to snap off. We'll just worry about bleeding the brakes after the brake job's done. Just so we can get through with this video. I was able to press the caliper all the way. Just like that. I'm not worried about hurting the pads or the rotors because they're getting replaced. We got the spring clip on the outside. When you take them off like this, sometimes they go flying. Just be careful. I always go with premium brake pads with new hardware, so I'm not worried about retrieving that. Inside pad is clipped in. It's got little clips. I'll take that outside pad out. Alright, a couple bolts on the inside mounting bracket. 18 millimeter. Alright, we need an extender for this one. Don't let your bracket fall to the ground. Got our bracket off. A lot of times you gotta hammer the rotor off. This one just came right off. That's sweet. Gotta love that. Your hub looks if your hub looks really rusty, you better clean it with a wire wheel. This one looks pretty good. All right. Now I'm gonna go over to my bench, wire wheel and grease those. I use Silk Glide brake grease. Put a little bit in that home. Hope that plastic slide back on easy. They're pretty tight. So we put grease on these slides, just pop them back in, and then pop it back out so it's flush. That's gonna help when we put the caliper back on, having them all the way out so they don't hit on anything. I'm just gonna put a little bit of grease on the piston. It's rusty. Just on the piston and the caliper here. That'll help prevent squeal in the future, brake squeal when it rains and stuff. Just a little bit. There we go. Now we're going to clean up the bracket. There's these marks on the bracket. It's real rusty. We're just gonna put a little bit, we're gonna clean it up. I got a Dremel tool I like to use. You could use a wire brush. Just get it cleaned up where the pads sit. I got all big chunks of rust knocked off of that. Keep it rusting up in the future. Put in a little bit of that Silk Glide. where that rust built up. This Silk Glide does not wash away very easily. Stays on for a long time. You don't want your pads binding up, but this style of pad doesn't really bind up like the others. Just a thin layer of grease on there. Alright, now we're ready for putting on the rotor and the pads. New parts. Alright, we got our parts in. Start off with putting the rotor on. Just gonna slap this puppy right here. It's come packaged with a thin layer of some sort of shipping oil. Give them a little spray down with brake cleaner on both sides. Get our mounting bracket going. Gotta kind of hold the rotor flat to get these bolts to line up. Alright, that was 18 millimeter on those. Get them nice and tight. Try not to let this caliper hang too long. I just need to cut the wheel the other way. There we go. Put our front pad right in. Pad with the clips goes into the caliper. So you got the curved side going towards the curved side of the caliper. Those clips can be a pain sometimes. That one wasn't really. If you're working on some different brakes, sometimes it's hard to get those bolts in and hold the rotor straight. You can just put a lug nut on loosely. Alright. We slide that caliper right over there. We got our 7 millimeter Allen going through the back. Them to line up. Nice and tight. Then we had our black caps that go on the back of there. A lot of times you'll find these are missing. And if you buy the cheap pads, it won't come with replacement ones. Those are popped in. Beautiful. Now we gotta put this pesky little spring clip in. That's the tough part. There we go. You want to get the top started, the top two, and bend this flat around the bottom, and then to get that last one in the bottom in, press in the middle, and it'll pop right in there. I made it look easy. You might struggle with it a little bit. There we go. Gonna get the other side done. Pump the brakes up. Bleed the brakes. Always good to do with a fresh set of pads and rotors. And make sure you prime that brake pedal before you start her up and take off. Press that brake pedal until it gets tight. And slap the tires on. Good to go.